when we go into the workspace, we're often confronted by risk, by hazard, by acts of omission, commission, inconveniences, so on and so forth. And very often what we do is we adapt a sort of heroic persona and do just about anything to get the job done. And very often we succeed at getting the job done. But by acting in this heroic way of making do somehow and chasing down this resource, this supply, extending ourselves beyond what was expected or otherwise needed, what we do is we preserve the conditions which caused the problem in the first place. And so we make two guarantees. One, we guarantee for sure that the aggravation we had today, we're going to have that aggravation tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. And the other thing which we guarantee is that we've left the risk in the system, and that all the factors which cause us daily aggravation may combine in exactly the right combination to cause a catastrophe. And I don't want to dwell too much and take this into a very depressing direction, but when we start looking at real public catastrophes, it could be the Challenger or Columbia space shuttle disasters, the problems BP had in the Gulf of Mexico or Texas City, even 9/11. One of the things that's striking about all of these is that when commissions study the catastrophe, they generate these gigantic reports, hundreds and hundreds of pages. And the reason they're hundreds of pages is that they start to document all the things that went wrong on the day of the event, and it runs into lists which are dozens, if not hundreds, of things that went wrong on the day of the event. But the reason the reports get so big is that the commission start documenting all the times those events went wrong every day preceding the event, and the only thing unusual about the day of the event was the combination in which these otherwise normally occurring experiences happened. And so what we want to do is get ourselves out of that, where we have the recurrence of daily aggravation and the risk that something catastrophic occurs. So how do we do that? Well, when we do our work, and we have to do our work every day, we owe it to ourselves, and clinicians owe it to their patients and to their colleagues and to themselves also, to do their work. And periodically, maybe it's mid-shift, end of session, step back and ask the question, what went wrong? And again, this should be a natural act for clinicians, right? Because they're always asking patients, what's wrong, what's the problem, what's the symptom? And so do the same thing for their own experience doing work. And when they step back and ask the question, what got in my way? Then take the next natural step for a clinician and say, well, why did it get in my way? Do the diagnosis of the system, much like they would do the diagnosis for the patient. And if they have some reasonable sense of cause for the problem they've encountered, then also take that pause to say, well, what can we do differently going forward that will address the causal factors and remove the bad experience? And try those changes, and if those changes work, if those changes don't work, repeat the cycle of understanding what's gone wrong, understanding why it might have gone wrong, and trying to make a change. But when they finally get to the point after repeating these clinical cycles, but on their work and not just on patients, repeating these clinical cycles, if they've actually gotten to the point of having a good solution, share that solution with others so that they can put it to effect in their work too.